worst side of it, isn't it, really?
And he's a funny Irishman in his like 55, does everything for himself, and to see being treated like just does himself. He's very quiet, but
Treated like an obstacle rather than a person.
Yeah. And but the thing is, though, this £20 an hour is like a phrase that I don't use actually during lockdown. I was sticking in my craw. But it's like, where is this? Because I'm spending so much time going through records. I don't want to be monitoring. That's not my nature. But where is the administrative work? I've overheard the carers say, I was going to see about like late last night, or I've had my shift changed, or how am I supposed to get ready to be in 10 minutes? So I really think that management has to have a look at them.
Yeah, they do, and you find out soon enough whether you've got a good carer or not, and whether you've got a good care company or not. But again, that's when you've got people like you, people like me and my siblings who are making sure that the thing we were paying for was the thing that was happening. And you don't do it in a bully boy way, you don't do it, and you create good relationships, but that shouldn't be at the expense of the truth. So Anna, the truth is something's going wrong in your situation. I wish you well with resolving it. Let's talk to Hayley in Reading, who is a care worker herself. Hello, Hayley.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, yes, yeah. So, how long have you been a carer, Hayley?
So I actually started being an unpaid carer for my grandparents many years ago, and unfortunately, since we lost them, I've actually decided to take it on as a profession.
Lovely.
So I've been working at Heathrow Airport for many years, and actually I've made the change into care work.
Are you the Hayley that I met?
I am.
Hello, Hayley in Reading. Hello. You've been in our studio before. I invited you in, didn't I? Before lockdown.
It was.
That's right. You went into. I was so delighted to hear you've gone into it, because I know you and your mum worked really hard with
We did.
With her parents, your grandparents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, I've been sort of dipping in and out of your conversation today with work, but talking to your tutors, we in our care company, we used to be called caregivers, and we've actually now made the decision to change the name of our team to care professionals.
Yeah.
And we've actually just increased our pay to reflect that as well, because there is this sort of nation of care is unpaid, low paid and low skilled.
And done by women.
Yes.
That's the notion, and yet plenty of men will make wonderful carers.
Absolutely. So we are just trying to advocate that this is a professional job, and therefore care workers should get the professional pay that matches that, because it's hard out there. It's emotionally and physically tough for them. So we are just trying to make sure that we give them the pay and the benefits for that as well.
And how can you tell me how much the pay has gone up?
It's gone up by £3.50
an hour.
That's in one hike. Yeah.
Wow, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's for that reason that they are professional.
Yeah.
And we want to attract professional people to the job. We want people that genuinely care. So we've made that decision, and it's actually really working in our benefit.
And are you doing home care?
Yes, we do home care.
Yeah. And the thing is, I know when we spoke about your grandparents and my mum as well at the time, that it's hard work.
Yeah.
But it's also there's a great deal to enjoy about it. There's a great deal of love in it. There's a great deal of just human connection in it as well, isn't there? And I think we've got to start we've got to start describing this phase of a person's life with different language, I think, and including the people who care for them.
Yes, and we try and do it as a team.
There you go.
We work with the family.
Wasn't too bad.
Caring for.
You going and get it,
yeah? Sort of around them, occupational therapists, etc. Because people just don't know what's out there, and we're really trying to remove the taboo of having a carer.
Yeah.
Because it's not just that get someone out of bed, put them in a chair for the day, and disappear off. We actually make a conscious effort to spend time with them.
It should be a friend, a person to talk to, or it should be what the person wants.
Exactly.
If the person doesn't want to sit and chat and make friends, they don't have to. But equally, the idea that they're just a body to clean or a person to dress and then walk out the door, that's just not good enough, is it?
No, and that's why we really work hard in our company now to ensure that the people we have with us want to care for people, and they're not just going in. I mean, I don't think there's many people in the profession that do that. Unfortunately, we know there are some, but we really promote that relationship-led care with them, because that's the only way to care.
It is the only way to care. The only way to care properly. Hayley, I'd love to meet up again. Let's sort that out, okay?
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot. I'm so glad. And now, Hayley, our connection goes back to the fact that when I was talking a lot about social care on the programme about 4 years ago, Hayley emailed me in absolute despair about just how difficult it was to get the right care for her grandmother and her grandfather, who have both sadly since died. But the nonsense of one local authority not dealing properly with another local authority and assuming that just because two elderly people were living together, they could kind of be each other's carers, even though both had care needs. It was a nightmare for her and her mum. And they did what lots of families do, which is just bent over backwards to fill in those gaps. And clearly it's something that Hayley wants to focus on now professionally, which I am absolutely thrilled to find out. Thanks so much, Hayley. Your call's in a moment. It is 2:47.
LBC. Join me, Andrew Castle, here on LBC. Nadeem Zahawi, Education Secretary, is with me. What is better now than when the Tories came in? Managed to deliver
Flew in it, I suppose.
One down. Careful. Straight.
Mind my hat. Mind my hat.
The top is open. Thank you.
Why have you sat on my hat?
My bed.
It's not good, is it?
No, the weather is nice. When we go swim?
LBC.
Summer. Check the weight. We go in the cold.
It doesn't matter which.
Look, you've creased my hat, John.
Pressure right now.
Why'd you do that?
It was on the seat.
Well, yeah, but you don't just crease it.
You can't just crease it.
Which supported over
I was getting out actually stood on it.
Yeah, it's not good, is it?
If you want to talk, we're here. British Gas. Here to solve. Search British Gas Energy Trust. Subject to eligibility.
Today's tale begins when the Smith family sat down to enjoy a film. Suddenly they heard the scariest sound. The Wi-Fi is down. The family were doomed to wait for a film that wouldn't load.
Save yourself from broadband nightmares. Get BT's unbreakable hybrid broadband backed up by EE, the UK's best network. Search BT Hybrid Broadband. 88% UK availability. 4G connection takes up to 175 seconds. Best for mobile network performance. Verify at ee.co.uk/claims.
Get up and at it, as my mother used to say. Get moving. Get your skates on. Get your hair done in the race run. Get behind the wheel. Get picking up and dropping off. Get busy. Get deliveries done. And get home to see Mom. Whatever the mission, Enterprise Rent-A-Car helps over 100,000 every day.
Right now at B&Q, get 25% off garden furniture, barbecues, and outdoor play. That's 25% off, making the most of summer. So bring on the sunshine. Shop in-store at DIY.com or on the B&Q app. You can do it. Excludes products sold and shipped.
You can do it.
Subject to availability in the 6th of June.
I've never been a fan of lilies. I want sunflowers and tulips at my funeral. It might cheer everyone up a bit.
Oh, that sounds like a lovely idea. But we can arrange that for you.
With over 150 years' experience, you can count on Co-op Funeral Care to help you pre-plan the send-off you want. To find out more, visit your local Co-op Funeral Care or go to co-op.co.uk/personal funerals. Co-op is what we do. Dormazan Sleep Valerian Hops Oil Drops is a traditional herbal medicinal product used for the temporary relief of sleep disturbances caused by the symptoms of mild anxiety, exclusively based upon long-standing use as a traditional remedy. Dormazan is not a sleeping pill, but easy-to-take liquid drops, which can help in the quest for a restorative and natural good night's sleep. Always read the leaflet. A. Vogel's Dormazan. Available at most good health food shops and chemists. Or buy online today at avogel.co.uk.
Sheila Fogarty on LBC.
Let's talk to Michelle Jackson. Sorry, apologies, that was earlier on. My apologies. Noga Tonopolsky, Israel and Palestine correspondent in Jerusalem, who's been attending and observing the funeral of Shireen Abu Akleh. She is the Al Jazeera reporter who was killed while reporting on events in the Middle East. Israeli forces, at one point during the procession to the funeral, began beating mourners at that procession. Noga, just describe the scenes that you've witnessed.
It was, hi Sheila, it was all really chaotic and I have to say rather disturbing for a funeral, especially a funeral of a relatively young colleague. What happened is that among those in the procession, in the early parts of the procession, her casket was carried. It was carried aloft on the hands of mourners, so people were carrying it, no gurney or anything. And among those in the procession, there were some who attacked police officers with rocks. And the police responded in a way that seemed really disproportional with very violent anti-riot measures. They claimed they had no choice, that they wanted it to be a dignified funeral, but the rock throwers prevented it. But the end result was pretty...
Well, yeah, there is a clip going around on social media that I've seen in which the poor woman's coffin almost just comes asunder and hits the floor. It's a very difficult thing to watch. Yeah,
that was what I was referring to. Yeah, there was jostling and a feeling of chaos. The funeral procession then continued almost through most of, really a huge swath of Jerusalem. And things have calmed down, but there were some helicopters above me until really just 15 or 20 minutes ago, and it had, on the one hand, sort of almost the trappings of a state funeral, not just a funeral of an individual, and then on the other hand, it really was poorly managed on all sides, let's say.
Yeah, poorly organised. And can I ask you about the investigation into how she ended up being shot and by whom? What progress, if any, has been made into that?
Not much, and I have to tell you, I'm not sure there really will be an investigation. A Palestinian forensic expert conducted an autopsy, and he said the results were inconclusive. The Israeli army is conducting an investigation, and they've said their results are inconclusive, but they never had access to the bullets which they've requested or to other effects from the autopsy. So Al Jazeera and the Palestinian government have flat out accused the Israelis of murdering this journalist. In a way, for all sides here, for the Palestinian government and for the Israelis, in a way, especially for the Palestinians, something inconclusive is kind of convenient because it can allow the myth of Shireen Abu Akleh to swell and for her to be perceived in the entire Arab world. She was an iconic journalist followed by millions and millions of people, and it can allow the myth of her and her sacrifice to grow.